Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, traders. Steve here at Logic FX Trading, and welcome to our trading room summary on Monday, the 20th of April 2020. Guys, at the moment, I am looking for a drawdown on the stock markets across the board. I don't know if it's going to happen this week or next week, but given that we've had what we were looking for initially, we had our breakout, we had our pullback. Obviously, at one point with our alarm there, and we said we pushed on up, probably to give us a little zigzag before we get another push down. Now, at this point, we don't know if that's going to happen or not, but there is an awful lot of talk out there about the damage that's been done, the economic damage that has been done and is continuing to be done by the lockdowns. Now, there is light at the end of the tunnel. There's talk about potential treatment that seems to be working on a small trial in the US, and then there's talk about a virus vaccine being developed in the UK, probably among other places. But guys, those are for down the line. At the moment, we've got to get from the point we are now, which is lockdown, to a point where we've got full up and running businesses, and then we'll see how much damage has been done. And there will be damage done, guys. Now, whether the prices we're at the moment, prices in that damage or not, that's the big question. But I wouldn't be trying to go long from here, guys. I'd be waiting for at least some sort of pullback. Now, it may, as I say, come next week or the week after. But from this point, I wouldn't be looking to go long. I'm not also looking to short it. What I want to do is sit in my hands, eat my popcorn, and wait until it's over and we know we've hit the bottom, and then potentially back up we come. But in the meantime, I'm suggesting that you do not continue to try and trade these long. Can I be wrong? Yes, of course I can be wrong. Here's a similar situation in the Aussie, where we started to tail off and its move up. This one didn't quite give us the zigzag that we had been looking for. Can it continue to do that? Yes, it can, but I think the high probability situation is that it will pull down. It could even break the bottom, but we have to wait and see what's happening to the world economy. To be honest, at the moment, the Aussie economy's, so far as the virus is concerned, the Aussie economy could well have turned the corner. They didn't get hit too badly back up to now, and obviously aren't expected to get hit any worse by it. And China's getting up and running again. Gold price is on the up. Now, that would be the thing about the Aussie, so far as the Aussie dollar's concerned, is if the gold price goes up and they're trading well with China, then you could see the Aussie dollar going up. But that's another thing, guys. We could see some more downside in this. I don't particularly want to trade it down, but I'd prefer to wait for it to drop, look at the structure before suggesting that you trade it long. And we'll just skip forward. Well, let's just go through Europe first. German, done the same thing. There's our zigzag, guys. Are we going to get a drop before it goes again? French, not as pronounced a zigzag, but nonetheless. Of course, this could continue to just creep up, but there's a triple top coming in there, guys. I wouldn't like to try and trade through that. So we'd at least wait for some sort of pullback before it goes, and we'll see whether the announcements that are going to be coming out this month about corporation profits or corporation losses, more like it, and we'll see what damage that does to the markets. The UK will probably do something similar. Nasdaq, of course, is running away with itself, but yet again, I wouldn't like to try and go long in here without some sort of correction. S&P and the Dow Jones at this time of the day are closed, but you can usually take your lead off the Nasdaq, which hasn't really moved much. There was a bit of a pullback on Friday, and now we're I think that was Friday 17th, yeah. So not expecting any fireworks long on this today, guys, but I would expect, given that we've had that zigzag, given that there's a potential ending diagonal in there, I would expect some sort of drawdown, and we'll see whether it turns into a bear market. That's one I was talking about earlier. CAD Swiss. I meant to take a trade in that. Yeah. Okay. And Dow Jones probably something similar. May push on up a little bit, but you've been looking for at least a small pullback, if not something like that. Of course, you get the small one first, and then you got to determine whether that's going to continue to drop or whether it's just a pullback of your initial move up, guys. So far as the rest is concerned, I think the dollar is going to stay up in this region. Obviously, we're doing a lot of talking about it in today's trading room. I think it's going to stay up in that region. Main reason being that the euro, I think, will drop. Although, having said that, it started to push up, but we're talking about on the larger time scale, folks. I can see more downside to the euro. The Italian economy is in difficulties. The whole of Europe's in difficulties. We may see something come out of Europe along the lines of bonds or even more quantitative easing, but I think overall that will devalue it. We'll have to see. Obviously today it's moving long just to annoy me and make me look like a fool, but nonetheless I think there's more downside to this, folks. I'm very wary of trading any of the dollar pairs short, to be quite honest. Oil, let's have a quick look at oil. Oil has pushed on down. Now back here, when the deal was being talked about, we did say that watch out, if the deal's done, this may start to climb back up, guys. But obviously the amount that they decided to cut the interest rate or the production rate by wasn't enough. There's $10 a barrel, guys. That's as low as it's been in the last 30 years. I don't expect it to drop any lower than there, but at some point between here and there, I expect it to start to come long. Therefore, once that happens, you can start looking at the Norwegian krona, you can start looking at the CAD, you can start looking at the Russian ruble, folks. And obviously that also boosts the dollar as well, because the US is now one of the largest suppliers or producers of oil in the world, if not the biggest. I'm saying if not because some of the shale production may well have dropped off. Not the shale, sorry. The fracking production may well have dropped off. I suppose it is shale because it's fracking shale. Euro, Oz. The Oz is looking good at the minute, guys. So that isn't what I'm expecting. That was what I was saying I would like to see before trying to trade the Aussie Euro short. I do think there's more downside to it, but I would like a half decent, maybe that 1 or 2 there was a bit exaggerated. I would like a half decent pullback before getting into it. This is well developed. I don't like just climbing into things that are already developed, guys. And let's just move on down to CAD Swiss. A little bit unsure of this now, guys, because of the oil price. The one thing I would say about it is, I was calling this long last week, by the way. The one thing I would say about it is, despite the fact that the oil prices continue to drop, remember that was West Texas oil we were looking at, but they all generally move in the same direction at different rate or at different price levels. This hasn't moved down massively, given that with that extra push down in oil, folks. So I'm just wondering, is this just gearing itself up to start going long? In looking forward to the oil price bottoming and starting to come up. Remember, the markets are always out of sync, guys, out of phase. So the CAD will be looking forward to what they think is going to happen to oil rather than what's happening to oil right now. So potentially this could start going long. I don't see much more downside to it, other than if we got the big drawdown on the stock market, then obviously the Swiss franc would be boosted by that and you would see a sharp drop down. But we'll have to see when that starts to happen. For the moment, there's potentially, particularly from a structural point of view, there's potentially a bit more movement up there, guys. That was quite impulsive. We've had a bit of a zigzag back down. I'm looking to see if that's going to go long. Where are we? 9 minutes. I'll do one more, folks. The other one I'm looking at, which I haven't traded in I don't know how long, is the Swiss yen. it's come along. Obviously, they're balanced out at the moment because they're both being used as safe havens. But the gold price is going up, and I suspect this time round, if the stock markets go short again, that the gold price will go up. Last time it went down with them because there was a rush to cash. People were trying to cover their margins, so they're grabbing whatever cash they had. That's done now, folks. So I think if the stock market drops again, gold will become a safe haven, as usually it is. In which case, the Swiss may get more of a boost than the yen. Remembering that they'll both get a boost if the stock market drops. And if the stock market doesn't drop, I think the Swiss will come up compared to the yen as well. So I'm looking for this to trade up. Not up above there, folks. Maybe in some sort of range. But if you have the right trading strategy, you can jump in and out of this, folks. So if we see it coming up, of course it will come back down and go up and down and up and down. It'll look something like that, folks. So there's potential for taking small profits. Maybe up to there, and then we'll have another think about it. And of course it could drop down before it goes long. Down into, well, probably that level, possibly there. So you're going to have to trade in such a way that your stop's below there and you're taking small profits, guys. Okay, that'll do us for today. I'll speak to you all again tomorrow. Remember, if you want to see the full thing, you can subscribe on Logic FX Trading. Bye for now.